This is the Fort Builders, the podcast where we explore the moments, memories, and meaning that made someone who they are, and discover what we might build in our own lives because of it. I'm your host, Lance Johnson. Welcome to the Fort. Let's begin. Hey, this is Lance Johnson. Thanks for joining me in the Fort today. Today's guest is Ezra Vedral. Ezra is a linebacker for the Kansas Jayhawks football team and a civil engineering major. And he's someone who's made a decision that a lot of people talk about, but very few actually follow through on. He's refused to compromise. From the beginning, Ezra knew he wanted both, football and engineering. And he's never let one take away from the other. He grew up in a family where athletics were part of the culture. Division I athletics across the board. But what stood out to me isn't just that background. It's how he's approached his own path. Ezra's up at 4:30 in the morning during the season, practices, meetings, lifting, and then he heads to class, into one of the more demanding majors you can take. And somehow, he's not just surviving, he's succeeding in both. But as we talked, one word kept coming up: mindset. The way he approaches problems, the way he handles pressure, the way he sees challenges, not as obstacles, but as something to work through. And what's interesting is how those two worlds, football and engineering, actually feed each other. On the field, he's reading offenses, communicating, adjusting in real time, sometimes split seconds. In the classroom, he's solving problems, working through complexity, and figuring things out when the answer isn't always obvious. Different environments, same mindset. This conversation isn't just about balancing two demanding paths, it's about how you think and how you approach hard things. And what happens when you decide you're not going to choose one over the other. Welcome to the Fort. Let's begin. Thanks for taking the time on a Saturday. You're a busy guy, so
this semester hasn't been better than any of the other ones, but it's no problem, especially on a Saturday, you know.
Yeah. Well, you're saving me right now from some yard work. My wife told me last night, she goes, "Now, what are you doing this weekend?" You know, that's normally like, how do I answer this? And it's really like, my response is, so what are we doing this weekend? And she goes, "Well, I was planning on us doing some yard work tomorrow." And I said, "Well, okay, cool. But I've got a interview this afternoon. So anyway, you're keeping me in the AC right now, and
that's
doing
great.
This is a lot more fun." Yeah.
Happy to help.
Well, absolutely. So I want to introduce everybody. And I will tell you, I'll go back and probably put together an intro to this to maybe put more of your, let's call it bio and anything maybe we miss, but, and who you are. But Ezra Vedral, is that how you say your name? Last name?
Vedral.
Vedral. Okay. And again, you're, which I find amazing, and that's why I wanted to talk to you today, is I don't get the chance very often to talk to, well, first of all, a football player, but I can guarantee you, I don't think I've ever talked to a football player and engineering student. So I'm excited about that. I grew up, my dad played football for KU back in the mid 60s. Yeah. Mid 60s. And so I grew up around, and that's when I became Well, I grew up in probably KU diapers, and so I've been a Jayhawk fan since I was born. But so grew up around a football player, but I have not had the opportunity to interview or sit and talk with someone. So I've been excited about that. And then I went through engineering school at KU as a civil, and excited about that. So looking forward to this,
Yeah.
man.
hmm it's something. There really aren't a lot. That's why I think Dr. Bennett mentioned me to you, but there's really no reason there couldn't be more. It's just, it's not a lot of people crazy enough to try
To to do it. You mean to do football and engineering,
to do both.
or to be on this podcast?
No, not that. I'm talking about doing football and engineering.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah. No, and I did a little. Well, I tried to do some homework just to learn something about you, and I think one of your quotes was, "It's about mindset," and I thought, and I would agree with you. And I would also, I believe that a lot of people don't realize how much they're capable of, but to do what you are doing definitely takes a mindset.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think
It's
once you
not
realize
easy.
that, like, there's some things you're going to miss out on, but I mean, that's everything. You choose to do something, you're choosing not to do another thing. I just chose to
Yeah.
pursue two pretty, I would say time consuming activities. So there's a lot of things I don't do. I mean, I probably don't go out as much as other kids, or I don't, um, I don't have, like, get to do some clubs I miss out on and stuff like that. But
Right.
I mean, that's something I'm willing to do, because I get to do two extraordinary, um, I don't know what to call them, activities, with my life.
Yeah, it's tough to call football an activity or engineering an
Exactly.
activity.
I'm not sure
And
what
you
to
somewhere
say.
I saw where you said two totally different worlds, right? And so
Mm,
a lot of times the point of getting involved in clubs or other things is to learn something that you didn't really know, or put yourself around others, or
hmm
even others that are like you, but you are not activities, but you're doing stuff that's you're learning and meeting different people.
hmm Very much
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So you are right now. You're what are you, a junior at KU, or where are you at as far as how much more you got?
So I'm finishing my third year. I am
Okay,
graduating. So academically, I'm a senior. But as far as football goes, I'm about to play my redshirt junior season because,
okay.
eligibility is all
So
mixed
you've
up.
got a couple more years of eligibility.
I have two
Yeah,
more seasons to play.
yeah. And in today's world, I kind of lose. To me, it's confusing sometimes whether somebody gets a fifth year or, yeah.
hmm
It seems like we've
Sure.
seen older kids that are older playing.
Mhm.
Or,
Yeah, my brother
yeah.
played 6 years, my older brother, because he got his redshirt year and his COVID year. So
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the
I mean, he was
COVID.
there
Yep, yep.
forever. But I think the
Yeah.
COVID years are all done now. So it should be back to the regular, you know, 5 years if you redshirt. Although I think they're
Okay.
talking about changing that as well, just giving everyone 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's always changing.
Well, you just said you're going to finish in three
Yeah.
years academic. How do you do that? That's
Well,
incredible.
yeah,
Or did you prep a little bit in high school? Were you able to
I
get
did.
some
I did
things knocked?
have a lot of opportunities to get college credit in high school. I took a lot of AP classes that, that come into college, and that took care of a lot of my gen ed. So I really only took one semester of kind of non-engineering courses here, and then I rolled right into everything I had to take for my civil degree. So I was able
Okay.
to go a little faster. And then because of football, we stay here in the summers. So they kind of
Ah,
encourage us to take summer classes. So I've taken a few summer classes, and that really kind of propels you forward. I wasn't far enough along to have a comfortable last semester. That's why this semester has kind of been kind of crazy. I'm taking a lot of hours, but I was just so close that I wanted to kind of wrap it
yeah.
up.
Yeah. And did you just finish up spring ball,
Yes,
or okay,
last Friday was our last practice.
last
So we
practice? Okay. So
yeah.
then, okay. All right. So then what's it look like now? You do workouts on your own, or
No, since
is
we
there
have a few
structure
weeks
to
in
it?
the
Yeah.
semester, we start the winter with an off-season model, which is kind of like 4 training days a week. And then
Okay.
we go into spring ball, which is a lot more, you're kind of on probably 6 days a week. And then we're going back. We've kind of gone back into our off-season model for this past week and then these next 2. And then
Okay.
as soon as classes end, we're free to go.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of nice. It gives you a little bit of time for, everybody to work toward finals and
Yeah,
just kind of
exactly.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Um, what, um, so then are you getting a master's? Are you going to,
Yeah,
is that
I'm
what
gonna stay on and
okay.
do my because I want to do structures, and
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of advice tells me to get your master's degree to do that. Just because there's only so much design, especially with a civil degree. Civil is
Right.
so broad. Like I've taken as many courses in um, you know, water and environmental engineering that I have in structures. So I'm excited
Yeah.
to kind of stick around and hone in on that part of my education.
Yeah. Thinking back and I'm sure it's different and I'd hope so that they would figure it out after 30 or not figure it out, but innovate and do some different stuff after 35 years. But, yeah, I was there at Learned Hall, let's call it late 80s to early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And back before it's beautiful, the facility now.
Oh,
But if you
it's
go
amazing.
down to the basement level and you go back to the fluid labs and stuff, that was kind of our world. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, and we were outside surveying. It was a whole front lawn. So where it's all expanded and there's a new building, that was all just grass. And we'd be out there with the chains and surveying. But, yeah, I did a lot. I'm remembering back structural, I think I had steel design, like a structural analysis and then a steel design. And that was about all the structural, other than statics and dynamics type stuff.
Right.
You're right. You don't get much more into the meat. I went the water route. I ended up staying and getting a master's, in civil, but it was water resources and spent a lot of time in the fluids lab. But,
Yeah.
so that's okay. So that's cool. Staying and going deeper, into structural.
Yep, I'm excited to do that. I'm actually
Yeah.
TAing a course. TAing that steel
Okay.
design course you're talking about. I get to TA
That's all.
in the
Yeah.
fall.
That was my path. I TA'd and then was able to do graduate research assistant, which allowed me to kind of get paid as I was doing my thesis. So,
Right.
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. And what's cool about it. Go ahead.
Oh, that was my professors. A few of them wanted me to take up one of those research positions, but we both decided that's not not very feasible with playing out football.
Because you're still going to play. Yeah. If you're still going to play. Yeah.
But they did still need someone to fill that GTA role. So I said, hey, I'd be happy to do that. And that's a way for me to get paid as I, kind of work through that degree as well. So,
well, I'm going to give you a little, I don't know if it's a hack or, and not that you want advice, but I didn't realize it when I was doing the TA. When I was there, but maybe we don't want the professors to hear this, the ones that have you grading the papers and doing that. But I'm working. I'm in the field, right? I'm in the engineering world right now, and my peers, people that I worked with, people that I TA'd and taught back in the day. One of them is the CEO of our company, and another one ended up having a structural firm, and our firm ended up buying or merging with or bought them out. And my point, I'm working with these guys, and so where I'm going with that is tread lightly on how much you ding them, because it can come back to haunt you. Yeah.
I never thought about that, but I will now.
Yes. Yeah. It's scary because you're put in a position as the TA, and here, you're all there trying to get through it. And then someday you're the ones out doing it. And yeah. And the disadvantage for you is you've got cameras and phones now. Back when we did it, we didn't have any of that. So, yeah, you got to watch yourself.
Yeah. Well, I was telling someone, since I'm graduating a year early, a lot of those kids, it's a senior class. So it's a lot of those kids that I'm going to be in there working with are kids I've been in classes with for 3 years now.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
No,
these kids have
yes.
my phone number. Like, it's just, who knows what's gonna happen. But I'm still excited.
Hey, let's take Ezra out. Let's take him out tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe that's it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
It could be. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
real cool.
Hmm.
Um, well, yeah, so I've been excited to do this, to hear the dual, kind of the dual path, the dual world, and how you put that all together. So, like, what's a normal during the season? Let's call it. I would assume that's probably the busiest time compared to spring semester. Let's call it what's a typical day or week look like for you?
Um. So yeah, season gets pretty busy. See, the real reason the season's busier in the fall is just your weekends. I mean, Saturday is just erased off the board because a
Yeah.
football game day is just so involved. I mean, we leave for the hotel. We stay in a hotel the night before. So like Friday afternoon through like Saturday night, you're just, it's football 100%. So that just kind of, you take that out of your week, you suddenly have a lot less time to do stuff. But a typical day, since we're a morning practice team, we're up early. I mean, it could be 4:30, 5-ish. We're waking up.
Okay.
We leave the house, me and my roommates, we leave the house at 5:30 pretty much every day in the season. Um, we live in a house right across the street from the stadium, which is kind of fun. So we just
Oh,
walk
that
over
is
there.
nice. Yeah.
Um, we walk in, we eat breakfast, we do our meetings, we practice, and then where my day gets a little different is most guys they're able to schedule classes that are just a lot later in the afternoon if they're not online. So that they can kind of get done with practice, they eat lunch, they kind of go about their day. I usually get done with practice. If I don't leave early, I kind of race into the lunchroom, get my lunch, and I'm off to class. And usually I'm busy with class till the end of the day. I mean,
Yeah.
it's if I don't have a night class, I usually have to stay there and work on something, just work on projects. It's really hard when you get into group project situations because
Yeah.
a lot of students have more flexibility in the mornings, and I don't. So
Right.
I'm always trying to make stuff up with them in the evenings if they can, and then try to get to sleep as early as they can. But it's a luxury sometimes.
Yeah, because most college students, the alarm's not going off that early. And so
Right.
back when I remember going, we were up who knows how late,
Yeah.
because we didn't have to get up that early. So we
Hmm.
could always study later. But you're really having to, yeah, like you said, mindset and then be very disciplined.
Mm.
Because you're also doing something that's demanding on your body and sleep. Anything that I've learned over time is how important sleep is and rest for your body. So it's not like you can just go
Hmm.
get 4 or 5 hours. I mean, that's important. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then
Yes,
if I remember
sleep
too,
is.
eating, I mean, trying to fit that in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually one of the biggest problems I have is nutritionally. I'm challenged because I'm a weight gain guy. I play linebacker. It's a eternal weight gain, type of situation. And,
Keep
the only way
trying
to
to keep
gain
it go. I mean,
to
keep it
gain
on
weight is
is
to
what
eat. Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
even just get heavier. I mean, I can keep where I'm at pretty easily, but they always want me heavier. And to gain weight, you got to eat, and to eat, you need time. Time to eat. And when you're just in that
Right.
engineering building all day, there's only so many like snacks you can bring with you. I need like
Yeah.
meals, and that's a struggle. That's probably one of the things I have to work through. I mean, I
Yeah.
have had to work through a lot. Is just trying to like, how can we put on the weight without, you know, like a lot of time to do it. But
And to
yeah.
do it nutritionally, right?
Hmm.
To eat the right stuff. How many calories do you have? What's your calorie intake on a
We don't
daily?
we don't actually track that. I mean, I'm
Okay.
sure it's up and it's up there because
Hmm.
based on we try to eat big meals and then shakes in between snacks. It's thousands and thousands, I'm sure. But we
Yeah.
really we talk a lot about just frequency of eating. Like, can you eat, you know, consistently throughout the day? That's where that's a challenge for me. Some guys have it a little bit easier. And then also cooking. Like, I actually like to cook.
Okay.
Like, I like to go just buy my food and cook it. But again, that kind of takes
Takes
time as
time.
well. And you got to be at home to do that. So this
Yeah.
semester's been a little bit harder to do that. In the past, it's been a lot better. I used to cook a lot more for me and my
Yeah.
roommates. It's a good way for us
How
to.
many roommates? How many roommates you got?
I have 3 roommates, all football players. So
Okay. That helped. I'm sure that helps to
yeah, I
have
mean, it's very,
football.
we all
Yeah.
leave the house at 5:30. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
It would be really weird to have someone in the house who's not doing that. They would get a little
Oh
probably
yeah.
frustrated
Sleeping
with
in
that.
till 10 or 11 and then you're turn the noise off at 10
Yeah,
o'clock or 9 o'clock, whenever. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you just mentioned I did because didn't do a good job of telling everybody what you do for the football team. You play
Mhm.
middle linebacker. Is it middle linebacker?
Yep. Middle linebacker.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your number?
41.
Okay. Is there a reason behind the 41, or you just it's what
Nope.
they gave you?
I came in as I'm a walk on the football team, just so um
Oh, okay.
that's clear. So that's like, I think that's a pretty important distinction. Definitely, kind of tells the story itself. But I showed up as a
Absolutely.
freshman in the summer and it was 41. And now, even if I could change it, I'm sure. But, I kind of like what it's something about, where I came from with that number. I don't want to change it now.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm hearing what you said, you came in and you got you came in as a walk on, so you're very appreciative and glad to be part of the team and on the team, and you're going to take whatever number they give you. And now
Mhm.
you might be able to pull rank if you wanted and say, hey, I want a
Yeah.
different number. Not that I don't know what. Yeah. But you've obviously you give identity to number 41, which you've done.
Mhm.
And yeah, why switch? But yeah,
Yeah,
tell me. Well,
exactly.
okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know you're walk on. So
Hmm.
yeah, and you're right. There's something in that. Because again, doing a little homework, and I want you come from a family that pretty pedigreed family in football. You've got a few relatives that have played some serious football, as well as siblings that I think it's amazing.
Yeah. We're a very sports oriented family. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously the football as well, but I have four siblings. I'm the fourth. At this point, we've all played or play a Division I sport, which is just, I mean,
Unheard of. Yeah.
I don't want to sound like that, but like it's just a fun stat. And all different
Yeah.
sports, football, cross country, pole vault, basketball. I mean, our parents, my dad loves football, so he wanted us to play football. But other than that, it was just kind of like the expectation was to play sports, and that never really felt like a requirement, but we all did. And
Yeah.
they always just let us, gravitate to whatever, we felt most passionate about and really what we were good at as well. So that's kind of how we all ended up doing other things.
When
Um,
you say football, was it four boys, or do you
Three
have
boys and two girls. I have two
three boys and
sisters.
two girls? Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Hmm. Yep.
Sorry.
So yeah, my oldest brother was the one who played football. He was a quarterback. Um, Played in Nebraska, played at Rutgers, and then my next oldest brother, he ran cross country and track at Creighton, and
Okay.
then my sister's a pole vaulter at Mizzou right now.
Uh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
we'll be
we
nice.
try not to hold it against her. And
Right.
then my younger sister, she's in Omaha at UNO playing women's basketball. So
Okay.
we really
Wow.
like to mix it up.
Yeah. So who's the best who's the best athlete in your family out of the siblings?
That's a great
Can you say
question.
that? We won't tell
Noah,
anybody.
my oldest brother, Noah, he had a good career, but honestly, everyone's done something. It's hard to compare when we're all in different fields.
Right.
Everyone's done
Right.
something very impressive.
Yeah.
So
Have you ever tried to pole vault? That
one
scares.
time
It's
we all,
scary. I
one
tried. It
time we
scares the
all
crap
went,
out of me.
one time we all
Yeah.
went with her, and we just like we did like a drill or two, and then we just tried to jump, and
Yeah.
honestly, I actually had a lot of fun. Just very
Yeah.
ugly, very very ugly to watch, but I
Right. The
actually,
form wasn't there. Yeah.
oh, absolutely
Maybe.
not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I would think that would be a fun, well, to root for each other and to rib each other and all of it,
Yeah.
the dynamics around the dinner table. Yeah.
Yeah, we all kind of talk about the relationship with our sport. It's there's a lot of love and hate, a lot of ups and downs, and we all experience
Yeah.
it in different ways. But
Yeah.
we kind of, I mean, I'm on the younger side, so me and my little sister, we remember we were drugged to every gym in the country. Growing up, my brothers played basketball and football, and like we were always along for the ride. And then growing up, they kind of come back and come to our stuff, which is just kind of full circle of it.
Right. Right.
And then there's just, yeah, we always try to go to each other's competitions, if we're there for free or available,
Yeah.
everyone makes it to as many as we can. It's just kind of the way it is. It's kind of cool.
That is cool. Yeah. Did you, so going back to the walk-on, tell me a little bit about that. Were you getting recruited, D1 or not D1? Tell me the story
Mhm.
to how did you come from Omaha, right? Or in that
Yep.
area, come from Nebraska to KU? Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I should probably take this all the way back to high school. Kind of
Do
the
it.
recruiting
Yeah.
process is
Let's
a little
go.
different.
Or
I'm
little
from a
kid doing
small
little
town
league
in
football. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
from a small
Whatever.
town in Nebraska. It's called Wahoo, about 4,500
Okay.
people.
Where is that at? Like,
It's
put it on the
about
map.
30 miles west of Omaha. So it's not far
Okay.
from Omaha.
Yep.
Um, and we all went to the Catholic school there in Wahoo. My two older brothers graduated from there. And then, through a little like some staff changes and just some overall like different factors, my older sister, she decided to transfer. She went to a school in Lincoln and she drove there every day, like 40-ish minutes. And then I had some issues and I felt like I needed to go somewhere else. So I chose a school in Omaha. So I drove 40 minutes to Omaha for my last 2 years of high school, which was,
Wow.
it was
That's
kind of a commitment.
That's a mindset. That's right. Yep.
There's some
Yep.
discipline involved in that. But I
Yeah.
found a school, Creighton Prep, that was it was a great fit. I had so many opportunities and all those college classes, great football team. But because the way I transferred, I missed my junior season. I was ineligible.
Mm.
So I don't know if you're familiar with the whole recruiting process, but kind of that junior year and that junior summer, you get your film from your junior year plan and then, you kind of
Okay.
go and launch your recruiting process. So I was kind of hindered by the fact that I didn't have any film for my junior year. So it kind of came down to my senior year and, I had a starting role. I had a good season. So I had some film, but then your recruiting process kind of has to go really quick because there's not a lot of spots
Yep.
filled.
It's gonna be very abbreviated, probably. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of talks with some D2 schools. I had a few walk-on offers from D1 schools like KU, Rutgers, Louisville, just places that we were able to communicate with that late in the process.
Right.
And at the time, my sister, the pole vaulter, she went to KU, so she started at KU. So I was familiar with what was going on here. We had kind of followed, Leipold coming in and turning the program. It was a ton of fun to watch.
The momentum. It's awesome. It's awesome what's
Yeah.
happened and it's transpired. That's right.
It was awesome. And so watching that, and then paired with the fact that I knew I wanted to do engineering. I was a big fan of math and science. I'm not a big fan of writing. So I was like,
ChatGPT, I love it.
whatever math and science I can get my hands on.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find a lot of those D2 options just didn't have the math and the engineering option. And I did kind of want to go to a full on, Power 4 engineering, college experience. So that was part of it. And then I really liked the staff and just the way the football team was trending. I thought, like, how fun would it be to be a part of kind of a rebuild?
Yep.
So I chose to come here, as a preferred walk-on. And, I showed up summer 23 and it's hard to know what to expect. Like, I think I knew it was going to be hard going into it, but then you never really understand it until you're there. My brother was a great resource. I mean, he'd been through all of it, but as I like to tell him, I'm like, hey, you were a scholarship quarterback. That's very different from a walk-on linebacker. There's just a lot of differences in how they treat our positions, and then both like who we are in the team. So it's been right ever since.
So are you on scholarship now? Did you work your way into that?
Nope. No. I'm still a walk-on.
Okay.
That's kind of a whole thing. I did play at the fall. So like, I mean, I've worked my way onto the field, which is, that's a tricky thing to do, but the scholarship thing hasn't happened yet. So the GTA is what I got.
Right. I hear you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess, if they're, in the whole NIL era now, it's hard to keep track of, and everybody's got thoughts and opinions.
It's a mess.
Yeah. Right. it's a mess, but hopefully, if you're getting fed and, and you've got a place to live and you don't have a whole lot of extra time to go spend money,
Exactly.
given how busy you are. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So go back, your family, your siblings all play D1 different sports. So yeah, sports on that level. But then to me, if I'm looking a little bit of your history, you grew up around your dad and your uncles, which I also think is unique too. I mean, did
Hmm.
they all play football at Nebraska?
Yeah. So my dad and his two brothers, they all played in Nebraska for Coach Osborne.
Yeah.
So they talk about him all the time about
Legend.
those
Yeah.
teams. My
Yeah.
dad graduated right before those two championships. But my uncles, they were there for that.
Yeah.
And then my mom's brother played in Nebraska
Okay.
and knew my dad's brothers. So that's kind of how my parents met. And then, um, and then the other connection really is my mom's dad is a Hall of Fame high school football coach in Nebraska. So he coached in Wahoo, at the school that I had gone to. He retired before I got there, but
Okay.
I grew up around that. That was kind of
Y-
my first interaction with football. Was I was a student manager from like first grade until I started playing. I was at
Yeah.
pretty much every high school practice. I was there helping out,
You soaked
and
it up. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
football was just it was everything to our family.
Yeah. Did you get into the X's and O's or start to have an appreciation for the game strategy early on?
Early on, I wouldn't say that. I think I was just really into like maybe I don't know the culture of it all, but just kind of the work ethic associated with football. I thought it was just the coolest thing ever to be a football player. Um, it really wasn't
Yeah.
until I got to Creighton Prep and I had our coordinator was actually our defensive coordinator was actually he had just come from the University of South Dakota, so he'd come down from college and he taught me football in a way I'd never realized like people would think about it.
Mm.
Um,
Hmm.
I don't know, like small school football. I'm not hating. I played it for a long time. It's very simplified. Kind of like, here's your job. Like, we're not going to run a different bunch of coverages. Here's your one job. You just got to do your
Yeah.
one job. Um,
Right.
when I got to Creighton Prep, we ran a very um, it was a much more complex system, much more similar to a college system, and that's when I really fell in love with defense and linebacker. I was like, this is because I
Yeah.
realize like how you approach the mental aspect of the game makes a
Yeah.
huge difference. And at the lower level, I didn't really realize that. I thought it was just how much more physical could you be than the guy lined up
W-
across from you. So I
Right.
think that's when I decided I really wanted to play in college because I thought, okay, if this is what it's like, um, I
Well,
think I could be pretty good at this.
yeah, and you're heading right into what I want to, where I'm kind of going, and that's fits right into the engineering because the mental, and I think you've said that the engineering can kind of helps you with the strategy and maybe some of that. And so, can you talk to that a little bit? So, in my head, as a fan watching the game, 25 or was it 40-second game clock, or sometimes 25 seconds, but to a fan that goes pretty quick and I have no appreciation for everything that's going on. Like when you're out there, right?
Hmm.
And put me in your shoes right there on the field. What are all the things that are going on between plays that you're having to get ready? And that
Hmm.
doesn't count all the prep, right? That even
Oh
puts
yeah.
you there. But I always think of just it is game time. If you can't call timeout. This is quick, and you're having to make so coverage is everything. Walk me through that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, from the end of one play to the next, you've got a little time, but in a game situation, having game plan and everything, you start with like, okay, where are we at on the field? Is this red zone? Are we backed up? Is this like,
Yep.
what we call gray zone? What's the down and distance? And then you start running through all these tendencies. I don't know if you're familiar with college game plans, but they
Yeah.
have,
Well, I mean,
they,
yeah.
they
Tell us.
provide a
Yeah.
million different tendencies.
Scenario.
You
Okay.
be like,
Okay.
okay,
Okay.
it's first and 10. Here's what we know. Like the first and 10 usually pretty run pass balance. We expect, it could be one or the other. Third and long. You're okay. We got to get ready for a pass. Um, so hopefully, like as soon as that plays over, you're kind of, looking at the situation. Okay, what am I expecting? But then you got to, start looking at the offense. You're like, okay, what personnel are they in? What personnel are we in? That's reacted. That's coming from our sideline. We're
Right.
looking at our sideline. We got to get our call. We got to know, what defense we're about to run. And then for a Mike linebacker, you've got to be ready for them to line up, because as soon as you see the formation, we have various checks. We're telling the D line what to do. We got to know what the safeties behind us, like what adjustments they're making. So it's this big, kind of elaborate, network of communication between players that's got to get done before the ball snap, because we got to be on the same page. And that's probably, one of the most difficult parts of playing linebacker, especially Mike linebacker, is you have to communicate to both ends. Safeties, DBs really communicate with each other, and us, and then
Okay.
the D line communicates with each other and us. So we kind of got to do both, which I think is um, difficult. But
Yeah. So Mike linebackers what are you communicating to the linebackers on both sides, or who are you communicating with?
so we usually are responsible for telling the D line, the defensive front.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, we're gonna line up
Yeah.
like this. We're gonna put our strength to the left or the right. Or like we might need to adjust, a shade one way or the other. So we're telling them, we might be communicating, linebacker to linebacker, like, hey, like, we got to do this, or we got to do that. And then usually we got to just receive the communication from the DBs behind us. We're saying, hey, we're going to play zone to this side, or we're going to play man to this side. So yeah, it's forward and backwards communication, which gets tricky, but it's kind of the job. That's, the Mike linebacker is traditionally, the guy that does that. So
Yeah.
I kind of find it fun too.
I would bet. Yes. I could see well, there's a piece to the engineering side of solving and the challenges and solving and thinking and using that to develop strategy. What I find amazing, and just talking with you on this, if I would have timed that took a couple minutes easily to just describe that just describes some of the things that you're dealing with, and you're having to do it in seconds. And that's assuming the offense takes the full game clock. I mean, sometimes they're in a hurry up or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, I think it's cool. And I think, again, all the things that are going on in the communication, most people they don't see it, and they don't understand it. Right. And there's so much more complexity to the game. Than people see. Yeah. And like you said, it starts with probably the moment after you finish the last game and you're starting to study for the next game and to the game plan, and starting to, with all the film and, like you said, the tendencies, and trying to figure that out. But yeah, wow. That's pretty cool. Yeah. There's something I was going to ask you. So has there ever been something that you said pretty much from a young age, football was it, you've grown up around it. Was there ever anything that almost took you off the path? Or, hey, I kind of like this, I didn't do this, or yeah.
Well, I can't say, football was always, it was something, I was going to play out forever, but I can't say it was ever the only thing. I played basketball, like all my siblings did, till my sophomore year of high school. When I transferred, I gave it up. I ran track. I didn't really love track. I was never the best at track. We were hurdlers. That's what, we decided everyone in our family was going to do. So I tried to hurdle, and I was not a very graceful hurdler.
You decided that's fun. Yeah.
I'm a linebacker. My older brother was a quarterback. He was much more, much more flexible, a little lankier than me. I hit a lot of hurdles, and it was kind of a problem for me. So
I was going to say, if you're a football player, the hurdles probably don't bother you as much. Just run through them, or it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I did hit a lot of them. So
yeah,
that was one thing I was like, okay, I'll do this for you, Mom, but it was not my favorite. What I did play a lot of, I don't know how this ended up happening. I'm actually a big volleyball fan. So when I eventually transferred, to an Omaha school, and I didn't have anything to do in the winter because I'd given up basketball because a lot of people play at a big school, and I was just okay at basketball. So I kind of I took up club volleyball in the winter. So I'd go play with a team, and I had so much fun doing that. Sometimes I think if that was, more of an opportunity, men's volleyball is just really small altogether.
Yeah.
I might have tried that out, but there's definitely things it could never have given me that football gives me. I just think the way football, unlike other sports, is just so big in the U.S. I mean,
Yeah.
in colleges across the country, like what's required. Like, we're given so much. I have to admit, so many resources, but also what's expected of us, I think, is a lot different than other sports. And I think that's kind of when I look back at football, and when, like, in the future, when I look back at football, I'll be really grateful for what was expected out of me. So
Mm,
there's nothing I regret in the sport that I chose. But yeah, there's definitely other
yeah.
things I did. And then
Yeah.
there was also there were plenty of conversations of like, hey, if you like, do you want to just go to school, and be an engineer? Because again, there are a lot of things like on the engineering side that I miss out on. There's a lot of clubs that I could be doing. You know, maybe like
Yeah.
could I have done more internships? Could I have done this, that, and the other? Um, really poured into that. But I don't think that I think I knew that was never the right choice. I think, just my siblings had all played, and I had played sports. I'd done sports in school my whole life, and I was just like, what? I couldn't really figure out, like, what do you do if you're not, playing a sport half the time? So
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to do both. That was kind of, important to me. So that's kind of what I chose.
Yeah. So you like, I heard it earlier, didn't like to write, and I'm the same way. And I was decent. I would say I was decent at math and science. Um, and so you picked engineering. What made you pick civil? Was there a reason?
Well, I came in as an environmental engineer. That's what I thought I wanted
Okay.
to do. I quickly learned what environmental engineering was, especially around here. It's very all the courses I realized, I was like, okay, there's a lot of water and wastewater. I was like, okay, maybe that's not
Okay.
exactly
So
what I want to do.
yeah.
I thought I wanted
Yeah.
to work more in like energy, but I was like, okay, that maybe that's not super plausible for where I'm at. And then I had taken, statics and dynamics at that point, and I talked to, we had other little structural portion of our intro course, and I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. And so I switched to that probably after my first year, before, I really needed to specialize in anything. And it's been structural ever since.
Yeah.
I stayed
Well,
civil.
and I will, well, and I'll tell you, it, being on the side of everything that you are right now, it can feel like maybe it feels like you're picking a path and it's more singular focused. But I can tell you, as life goes on and you get out in it, you've got engineer behind you. That's what you've got, and people start to recognize that that's about how you were schooled and trained at, through the degree program. Engineers are about figuring out, taking a challenge and coming up with solutions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fixing things, and you can adapt. And there's back to mindset. You're going through a program that, yeah, you're going to come out, you're not going to be taught everything. Just like you're finding out, hey, I'm only learning so much after 4 years. I want to know more. So you're going to go to grad school, but that's still not going to teach you everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get out, and what you're going to find is it's about mindset. And that's what engineering ultimately that path has put you on. And I think over time, you're out there, you can blend structural potentially to environmental or energy or other things. So it's a big world, and you're getting the tools right now, and then you can always go so many directions in that world.
Mm-hmm.
As an example, my day job, I work for about a 500 person engineering, full architectural engineering construction company. And we got about 17, 18 offices throughout the Midwest, from North
Mm-hmm.
Dakota down to Texas, and then one we just opened in Florida. But our structural, I'm trying to think if we've got maybe 30 to 50 structural. So we do all kinds of structural that runs the gamut of what that means, anywhere from
Mm-hmm.
transportation to aviation to industrial to. So anyway, my point is, you are on the path to flex that brain in that
Mm-hmm.
world, and that's and you can take it in so many directions. What I wanted to ask you is, so how does how has sports and football, I guess, helped you in the engineering space?
hmm Um, well, I think it all starts with discipline. I think the standard I hold myself to comes more from football than anything else. We talk a lot about that on our team. It's just like,
Yeah.
what is our standard? You know, and we put a big emphasis on class. So my freshman year, I had all my classes checked, which is, where someone stands outside the door and, you have to go sign in every class. And so, recognizing like, okay, this is important to the football team. And I mean, I'd always, you know, acknowledge the importance of actually attending class and, just doing, we were always like, every assignment had to be turned in, every class had to be attended. And they would watch that, for a long time. I don't think they watch me as closely as they used to. Um, but I think
Well, you
there's
probably
so much
earned the
you can,
trust.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
need to pour the resources into that. That's kind of,
Right. Ezra's good. He's
but
yeah.
yeah, I think that's worse now. Um,
Yeah.
but you know, there's been classes I've taken that are hard, and I think just like through the effort side and the discipline, it's like you can work your way through them, and you can come out with a good grade and a good understanding. You know, if you apply that kind of aspect. And again, I do talk about mindset a lot because there's such a mindset of we kind of talk about anything worth doing is worth doing the right way. And in civil engineering, that degree, it's just so many classes that you're like, okay, I'm in this class. I don't really want to do, what this class is teaching me in the future. Something like, water treatment or transportation engineering. You're like, okay, this is pretty far off what I'm, trying to do someday.
Yep.
But I can also recognize like, hey, this is part of the degree. And like I trust the school enough that they've identified this as something that I need to learn. So I sit in those classes and I try to learn as much as I can, try to understand it. Um, and do the class the right way because that's how I'm taught in the football. Maybe I can't even turn that off if I tried. So I think that aspect of it helps me so much day to day is how much can you apply yourself, because that's the right way to do it. um then on the other side there's also just a lot of interacting with different people. Football is just so diverse. There's so many different people on a football team. um the way we bond over kind of a shared interest in like what we're doing. There's a lot of that in engineering too. You have to work with so many different people,
Totally
and some
agree.
people might be kind of slow to get going on this project. Some people might be kind of hyper. um it's just like I feel like I have a lot of experience of working with people in football in very high pressure situations. There's a lot of emotions when you're interacting with people on a football field. Engineering not so much, but there's still plenty of overlap in that sense. So I do like teamwork is it's very natural. I mean, it's like in football, you have to rely on people around you to do their job.
Yeah.
There's 10 other people on the field. If they don't do your job, if they don't do their job, your job's not getting done either. And
Right.
you can see that in engineering as well.
Yeah. No, I, well said, well put. And I can see that the qualities or the similarities. I think football, you're just sometimes the stakes under pressure in this short amount of time cooks it a lot faster. But
Mm-hmm.
you can, if you're designing something from a structural that public's going to use, clearly there's ramifications if that thing doesn't hold up. But
Mm-hmm.
usually you have more than 25 to 40 seconds to figure that out. But
Thank goodness.
but there is a teamwork, right, and
Mm-hmm.
aspect to that. You're sharing this, and it's making me think back to going through engineering and our study groups. We, again, you have labs, you got projects you got to work on together, you got to get along, and somebody doesn't show
Mm-hmm.
up or somebody's supposed to do that. But I just remember having a tight study group that really got me and helped me get through sophomore, junior year probably. And then it extended on to senior, but we had a group that, you did bond.
Mm-hmm.
You're going through that together. You're staying up late, you're getting up, whatever it is. You're under pressure on a project and stress of the tests. Yeah, you're making me think back, and I appreciate that. It's cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right.
Yeah.
Similar things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
just learning how to, rely on people, but also, be someone who can be relied on. Um, group projects, yeah, they get so crazy just because, schedules are all so different. And it's like, okay, how, communicating, that's a big thing. Um, Football is constant communication in the playing sense, but also just in our expectations. If we're ever, late to something, that's obviously a big problem. But if we ever,
Right.
if I have a conflict, and I do have a lot of conflicts, I'm constantly texting people like, hey, I can't be at this, like, or I'll be late to this because I'm at class. It's like that over communication, that's kind of a skill of just like, hey, like this would be a good thing, to give them some notice on, or um, like
To
just never,
recognize
never,
that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
never just not showing
Yeah.
up to something. You can't, I try to do my best to always make sure they know where I'm at. Um, Probably to the point where they get a little tired of me because they have my schedule. They probably know, but I'm just trying to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah. Well, you just and to recognize that right at now, where you're at in your career and life, i- i- that will be a common theme the rest of for here on out. Almost every, shouldn't say every, but majority of issues, problems in a company or whatever it is with people, it's lack of communication.
Mm,
And you'll hear it said, you just said it, over communicate. You almost can't
right.
over communicate. And it seems so simple to say, all you got to do is communicate. But yet usually that's the number one thing that is the breakdown of doing a good job or getting along or whatever it is, success.
Hmm. Yeah.
Communicate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a quote. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was.
Oh, I was going to share a quote that I loved it. It's because part of me, I'm thinking, what would you tell, if somebody's listening to this and they're thinking about going into engineering, or something difficult, what would you tell them? And you had a quote, don't let anyone tell you it can't be done. The only person who decides that is you. Be prepared to make sacrifices because it takes time to be great at something, but don't be afraid to try.
Mhm.
That I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm actually. I remember saying that. I was kind of proud of how it came out because I
Oh
do think it
yeah.
communicates a very important message that I've learned is that there was plenty of people who are like, ooh, I mean, everyone always says, when I tell them, like, yeah, I'm an engineer, they always go like, ooh, like that's terrible. Like, not terrible, but that's so much work. I'm like, yeah, it is a lot of work, but like, I know people have probably been scared away from that. Um, I think a lot of football players probably um, don't pick a major that they're interested in because, they choose, the time over, some extra work in something that really interests them. But when I got to college, I kind of started, and my first semester was easy. I thought, okay, this is no issue. And then my second semester was a little harder, and it's just gotten harder ever since. But I found that every semester I just get to redefine, um, what I can do. It's kind of an adventure. And my poor mother, I always just sign up for classes, and she's like, "Are you sure you want to do that? That's a lot of work." And I told her this last semester because I'm in 20 hours, which 20 hours on top of football
Wow.
is not very smart.
Well,
But
I mean, just for anybody out there that hadn't gone to college, 20 hours period is a
yeah,
lot. I think a full schedule's like most people say, don't go over 18.
right.
And for an engineer, 18 is incredibly full. And so you're doing 20 on top of football. So
Yes.
we should, it's kind of like we should make a point for everybody listening to this. That's incredible.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of. I looked at my schedule and just like required class hours alone. It's like 24 hours a week is like how long I'm in class. That's
Just
not,
class hours. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
class.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I told my mom, I'm like, hey, I'm like, last fall was very tricky because that was the first time I had traveled with the football team. So like, I played on special teams, so I was gone on the weekends, and that was hard for me because I'm like, that's a lot of time that I could be doing assignments, and that was hard. And then this semester has been much harder than that. And I told my mom like, hey, it's just gotten harder. Like I got to keep that up, and then it'll all be done. So it's been cool, and I'm very proud of the fact that I've been able to figure it out as I go. Um, it's
Yeah.
been like one of the hardest things I've ever done, but also one of the most rewarding. I always tell my mom I look at this period of my life is just, probably the most formative um, period I'll ever have in my life. So when you look at it like that, it's kind of such a blessing that I get to, you know, develop as a football player and earn skills. I mean, develop skills that I'll have for the rest of my life in that way. And then also in the afternoons and evenings, develop as an engineer, you know,
Yeah.
skills that I'll use long into my career. So
Yep.
it's
Well,
it's been great. I don't know.
yeah, and I believe if you're not doing something hard, you're not growing,
Mm,
but you've got a heck of a head on your shoulders to, I'm sitting here, you're inspiring me, listening to you and what you've done. And I've read a little bit of some more, about you and just kind of your outlook on life. But I can tell you, taking this, going back to mindset, you're going to be able to do about anything you want to do, in life, with this kind of a mindset.
mm,
Because there'll be setbacks and different things, or it'll get hard. But to have this kind of, and like you said, what you're doing now is preparing you for that.
mhm.
It's cool. It's refreshing. I don't talk to, you can tell those that are watching probably listen. I'm a little older than Ezra. I can probably tell him, I think I'm about your dad's age, just checking on time. And, it's just neat to talk to, somebody like you that, has got this kind of outlook. And I mean, there's others out there, but I don't always get the time and opportunity to do
Mm.
this. So I appreciate this. It's been
Uh,
great.
I appreciate that. My dad says the same thing. He always says, like, if it's not hard, it's not good for you. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
kind of been, how I've stayed here. And I'd be lying if I said I never, wanted to give up football. Um, first year,
Oh,
especially as a walk on, it's hard. It's a lot of, it's kind of a lot of keep your head down and just do the work. There's not a lot of reward, not a lot of compliments. Um, but he was like, "Hey, you should really stick it out. I think this will be good for you." And I was like, "I don't know." And he kept me in it, and I really,
uh,
I look back on that. I remember that moment. It was, yeah, it was tough, but I stuck it out, and so glad that I did now, because I do think it's
that's awesome.
the
Mm,
things, yeah, the things that are hard that you get through that really show you, who you are and
yeah.
what you're capable of.
They develop your character,
Hmm.
and like you can look back. Eventually, you have the, knowledge and wisdom that time gives you, and you can look back fondly upon that, and you can see, gosh, how valuable. Sometimes, like you said, waking up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m, doing what you're doing, you're like, Dad, I want to. You're calling Dad saying, I want out. And so when you're in it, it's not always as fun, but as time goes on past that, let's call it pain, you can look back and go, wow, what a gift, what an
Hmm.
opportunity. You shared another quote, if you're okay with me sharing it. I loved it. And this, I think, gives the listeners, a little bit insight into how you think. But the grueling environment of college football has made me a better leader. And the challenges of engineering have sharpened my problem solving skills. Together, they're teaching me lessons I'll use for the rest of my life. Um, yeah,
Hmm.
in so many ways, right? Uh,
Right.
yeah, and comfortableness, just in leadership, all those other things, the intangibles
Hmm.
that come with something. So, really cool.
Hmm. Yeah, we talk about leadership a lot because that's so important to a football team. Having good leaders and having your leaders be, the people who contribute the most to your team is really important. And so, I mean, eventually, when I get into, a career and working for a firm, hopefully, I think I'll probably start to see that in ways I can't even imagine right now.
Yep.
The way our coaches teach us about that. But then, yeah, also being able to problem solve, which I think a lot of people miss out on that in some degrees. I feel so beneficial that I feel so grateful, I should say, that when I go home to do my homework at night, I'm solving problems, not, responding to a
Right.
discussion board.
Yeah.
Because again, that goes back to if I'm taking these courses that even I'm not interested in, it's still like, here's a problem,
Yeah.
here's a few methods, like, can you solve it? It's an exercise, and I think it teaches you things that you know you can use in many areas, even if it's not
Yep.
what you want to do in the future.
No doubt. So,
Hmm.
all right. Do you have, so let's, I'm thinking of your mom right now and what she might tell you, what might say to you. Do you have a vacation coming up or something? Like, are you going to a beach? Are you going to the mountains? Are
This
we
is
doing
funny.
something? Are we doing something fun?
She actually, so when we were all young, we traveled a lot. So it's something that she's really important to her. She wanted to travel.
Yeah.
So we went to a lot of cool places, but then, with the sports, as soon as one of us went to college, it was kind of, okay,
Oh
let's get
yeah.
into that.
Sure. It
But
takes up a lot of
this
travel.
May, we
Yeah.
actually have a small window. I think she's really excited. She wants to go to, like, I don't know, maybe Florida or, somewhere in the Southwest. And I was like, like, yeah, I'll try to make that work. I think as soon as I'm done with graduation, I'm like, yeah, I have about 2 weeks until we have to be back for summer training. I'm like, I think we should do that, because that would be
Yeah.
a lot of fun. Because no, I don't take a
Yeah.
lot of vacations. I usually take my breaks and I just go home and hang out at home, because it's just
Yeah.
nice to not be
Or
here.
chill. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Just to
Exactly.
relax. Yeah. 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 Yep. Maybe sleep in a little. Maybe sleep into 8, something like that. And
Yeah, that's what we always
yeah.
joke about. Like, what does sleeping in really mean? If we can have a day where we
Right.
don't have to wake up until like 6, we're pretty happy. I think I
Yeah.
have no complaints when I have to wake up
Yeah.
at 6.
Yeah. Well, I've taken up a lot of your time today. I know it's a Saturday, and speaking of going and having fun and doing something, I want to get you out of here and let you go. I will tell you earlier, you just a few minutes ago, you said um, you maybe can't see how it will manifest later in your career, whether you're working for a firm. I can tell you, I can. I can see what type of individual and where you can go and what you can do, and it's I would tell you it's incredible, and I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to cheering for you this fall.
Hmm.
Like I said, I've been a lifelong Jayhawk fan, still am, and will always be. And I can't wait to root for you this fall, and then beyond, just to kind of see what you do. And gosh, I hope you give our company a look, and I'm going to let our company know that you're out there. And I wish you all the best, man. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being part of the build here in the fort.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I also never got to say, like, how cool I think the concept of this kind of podcast is, because I always am fascinated about, you just look out into a crowd, there's thousands of stories anyone could
y-
tell, that are just
yes,
probably mind blowing to anyone else. And it's like, how
y-
are you going to hear those, if someone doesn't ask?
right. That's right. You meet so many people and say, "What do you do?" "I sell insurance," and you go, "Okay, cool." And I mean, that's great, and you go on. But then
Hmm.
all of a sudden, you find out, well, that guy's in a rock band, and he did this, and just was there. You're like, "What?" You're
Exactly.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much to people. You're right, and I appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Uh, Rock chalk.
Absolutely rock chalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you can come to some games
Any,
this fall.
y-
And if you see me,
oh yeah.
absolutely feel free to say hi. I'm never
Well,
timid.
so my son, I've got 3 kids, and I can cut us anytime you want to, so don't feel like you got to stay.
No.
I've got 3 kids, 2 daughters, and one graduated KU, one graduated Iowa, got away, and then my son's a senior in high school. He's going to KU next year.
Yes, and
And
this is
he'll be there. Yeah.
this I've met him.
Oh, that's.
Um,
Oh my gosh.
this is the
Yes,
smallest
I
world thing
totally.
ever.
Yes, that's right. Oh gosh, I've totally spaced on that. He's playing golf right now because I said, "Hey, you want to be with us?" And you met him at a Tim Tebow Foundation
Yeah.
thing, and he said him and his buddy Eli, yeah, that's right, hung out
Hmm.
with you all night. He came back
That's
and yes,
because it was
I
just a total, like, we stood in line next to each other, so we were talking. We were not line for a long time, and then yeah, we had a great time. It's so funny that
yeah.
that would be fun. Who?
Oh yeah, he came back. Well, that's right. That's before I even met with Dr. Bennett. we had coffee, and she had recommended me reaching out to you. But yeah, she mentioned the name, and I mentioned it to anyway. Brady had came home and mentioned he spent time with you. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's
He
a good
did
kid.
ask. So you had mentioned early that one of your favorite moments was the OU game. And
Absolutely.
I remember I texted him, and he's, like I said, he's not home right now. But he goes, "Oh yeah," he goes, "I remember that. That was a long rain delay. I think
Hmm.
game where
Yep.
yeah, and we
Yeah,
ended up beating
I
them."
loved that game because there was a rain delay. It was cold, 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 cold. And when we came back
Yes,
out,
yes,
I mean, the stadium was practically empty. I mean, there was
yeah.
not a lot of people in there, but I still think that's the loudest I'd ever heard the old
That's
booth. It
crazy.
was so loud, so loud. The
Yeah.
fans that were in there, they were there to win. And
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
of course, the game itself was crazy. So I absolutely love
Yeah.
that memory.
Yeah. That was awesome. That's cool.
Hmm.
Well, another memory to just connecting dots. Your uncle, one of your uncles, I think, or both of them, might have played with Brooke Beringer.
Hmm.
He was a family friend of ours from. We originally grew up in Goodland, and
Oh wow.
knew the family, and knew Brooke when we knew each other when we were little, and stuff, and yeah. So
Hmm.
um, I kind of followed. I rooted for Nebraska because of him at the time, but I've always been a
Yeah.
KU fan. But
So
what
I
a
get a
great
little
guy!
fuzzy on the whole um who was where when, but my uncle Matt Turman, he was a quarterback. Um, I think at the same time. I can't remember how exactly that worked, but uh,
Well, was it Frazier? Tommy Frazier was a quarterback
mhm,
around the same time Brooke was, and they kind of competed for time. Um, but as far as when Brooke died, you mean? Or
mhm.
oh,
It was
yeah, I'm not
somewhere
sure.
around there. I'm trying to think of
Yeah,
exactly how that all went down.
yeah, yeah. It was a terrible, tragic deal.
Yes.
But Nebraska's had some incredible football years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll cut this out. I don't want to talk about Nebraska, but
Yeah, exactly. Um,
but still.
yeah. Yeah, my dad
Did
he tells a million
well,
stories. A million
well, that's
stories.
another. I didn't even ask you that. Did you grow up a Nebraska fan? I mean,
You know, I really didn't. It was my dad played there and all my uncles played there, but I think it was just the coaching issues they had after Osborne just
yeah,
kind of, I think they weren't super fans of the university at that point. There was just so much that mishandling, I think, of the team. So I really didn't grow up a fan.
gotcha.
And then they never
Yeah,
offered my brother and they never really talked to me. So there was never any sort of like,
you're kind of past the
um,
era, kind of. Yeah,
yeah, it really was. There's so many fans still holding on to that. They'll
yeah.
hold on to that for as long as they can. But yeah, we were never a huge Nebraska fan. Obviously, my brother did play there. He actually
Okay,
he followed Frost from UCF to Nebraska. So
okay.
for those first two Frost years, we were fans, I guess you could say. But
Yeah, yeah.
since then, it's not.
Gotcha. Well, man, yeah, we'll look for you this fall. Come say hi if we get an opportunity.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
that'd be
well,
awesome.
cool. Oh, I was going to show you if you check this out. I was home over Easter, going through my dad's stuff, and
Oh my goodness.
I found about five of these. Uh, they were programs from the mid '60s.
Yeah,
It was pretty cool, Jayhawk
that's awesome.
stuff, and yeah. Incidentally, they were doing a Memorial Stadium renovation same
At that
time.
time.
Yeah,
Oh
mid
wow.
60 years. Yeah, yeah. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, the
Anyway.
renovation. I actually do kind of credit that with how I'm
Oh
picking
yeah,
my
you can
favorite.
look at you, just look out your
I
window.
actually am looking out the window at it. Um,
Yeah.
it's I think walking by that every day, watching that be built, I was like, okay, maybe I want to be involved in this. And so I'm interning with Walter P. Moore this summer,
Oh,
and
okay.
they do so many stadiums. So I'm really excited to work, hopefully on one of those. Because I'm like, hey,
That's
what a great way to marry the two things that I spend my time doing.
No way. That is cool. Yeah. Well, I'm sitting there thinking you could eventually get into sports stadium architecture and all the venues and things. I mean, wow. And there's coming up. You got Royals, Chiefs.
Yeah,
They're both going to be building new ones and just down the road. But yeah.
And they say Kansas City is like the hub for sports architecture
Yes.
in America. So perfect.
Yeah. I might extrapolate, say a little, maybe even global, but there's some big hitters in the Kansas City market. Yes. Yeah. All right, man. I'll let you go. I could keep talking to you. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Have a great day.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to talk. You take care, okay?
Okay. You too. All
awesome.
right.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye. What part of your story might be shaping who you're becoming, even if you haven't fully named it yet? This is the Fort Builders. Thanks for being part of the build.